Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we will be looking at r/best of Redditor updates. Story 1. Original post, February 12, 2024. My wife, Kara, used to be married to a guy with whom she has one kid, my stepdaughter Charlotte, 9. I've always wanted to be a dad, but I'm unfortunately unable to have kids biologically, so I've been treating Charlotte like my own daughter and showering her with love. After Kara and her ex broke up, he had a son Levi, 5, with another woman. Levi is not an affair baby. Kara's ex didn't even start seeing Levi's mom until a year after he and Kara got divorced. Last week, Kara's ex passed away in a car wreck. From what I know, Levi's mom won't take him in, and Kara's ex has no close family who will take him in. Levi is currently staying in a foster home, and if no one steps up, Levi will become a ward of the state and enter our state's god-awful foster system permanently. The other thing is that Charlotte loves her little brother so much, and obviously, she's devastated about her dad. I think that staying connected with her brother will help Charlotte through the grief, and that staying with his sister will help Levi. The thing is, Kara absolutely loathes her ex. Their split up was on pretty much the worst of terms, and their divorce was the messiest I've ever heard of. She once told me that if it wasn't for Charlotte, she would have moved across the country and never thought about him again. I'm worried that she won't want to take in Levi because of his connection to her ex. I don't know how to talk to Kara about potentially stepping up to take Levi in, or if she might be gravely insulted if I brought this up. I know that Levi's not technically mine or Kara's problem, but he's an innocent child and Charlotte's little brother, and I would feel guilty if I didn't even try to take him in. Edit, since a lot of people have been asking, the reason that Levi's mom can't and won't take him is because she lost custody a while ago and has no interest in fighting to get it back. I don't know why she lost custody, but I believe that she's on the sex offender registry for something quite serious. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, well dude, she is your wife. We're just random strangers on the internet and this is a seriously large decision. I would recommend just talking to her about it and seeing how she feels. Are you even able to take the child? OP, well, I've never been in my wife's position, and I was thinking maybe someone with more experience could give me advice. I love my wife, but she can be a bit, let's say, volatile when it comes to anything involving her ex. And yes, we are able to take the kid in, well, financially at least. Commenter 2, info needed, did Kara have much contact with Levi prior to the accident? If she did, that might make it a little bit easier, but you also do need to go with that it's Charlotte's brother. Just think how you'll put this and start by admitting to her that she may or may not like the idea. But there is the possibility that she's trying to figure out how to bring it up to you. So, think of it as making it easier to say what she wants. I think you are going to do okay. OP, no, she purposely didn't form a relationship with him, so she'd have less attachments to her ex. I actually saw the kid more often than my wife because I handle most of the childcare stuff with my stepdaughter, which included pick up and drop off from visits with her dad. Commenter 3, I'm curious, what was your relationship like with your wife's ex? It seems like you and him had a better relationship than your wife and him. I'm not saying you guys were buddies. OP, he and I were cordial, but if I'm being frank, he was a massive douchebag. My wife and I would rock paper scissors sometimes to see who would have to deal with him, lol. Commenter 4, do you think your wife will be able to be a loving parent to Levi, the same way she is with Charlotte? Physically taking him in is only the beginning of the journey. OP, knowing my wife, yes, I think she would. She may hate the idea, or she may not, but I don't think she's physically capable of hating a little kid once she gets to know him. That's why she avoided forming a relationship with her ex's kid, I think. She didn't want to get too attached to someone adjacent to her ex. But that's just my speculation, of course. Commenter 5, what did the ex do for Kara to divorce him? Damn man, answer. OP, the better question is what didn't he do? And is a man not allowed to sleep? He cheated, lied, gaslit her, they had screaming matches, and during the divorce, he tried to keep my stepdaughter away from her. He made things up about her in court to try to serve this end. The only thing he never did was hit her. Update, February 18, 2024. So, after reading through as many comments as I could, I was even more nervous than ever about talking to my wife. I was also even more convinced that this was a conversation I needed to have sooner rather than later. I also tried to get more information about Levi's situation and why no one could take him from my wife, and according to Kara, Levi's mom emigrated from another country and doesn't have any family here. One of her ex's parents is in aged care and the other is unwilling for some reason. As for the rest of his extended family, I don't know and neither does she, but she did say that he has no contact with most of his family and has been disowned by a fair number of them. Someone may reach out in the future, but it seems unlikely. Last night, Charlotte was over at her friend's house for a sleepover, so Kara and I had dinner alone together. I started by bringing up how lonely I thought Charlotte was and how glad I was that she was feeling well enough to go over to her friend's house. Kara agreed, and I basically got straight to the point by saying how I thought that she'd feel better if she could spend time with her brother, and asked if she might consider taking on Levi as a kinship foster. Kara looked thoughtful for a minute, before tentatively agreeing. We're going to be taking steps to see about taking him in, and at the very least setting up visits so that the siblings can see each other. This is a huge weight off my shoulders, knowing that she doesn't resent a little kid for her relationship with his father, and that she was able to have a rational conversation regarding a topic related to her ex. The last time we had a conversation about him, I'd accidentally used a phrase that her ex used a lot during their fights, and she got triggered by it. She ended up storming out and staying at a hotel for the night so that she could calm down. She's a lovely woman. I know it might not seem like that from my posts, but she really is. She had a really toxic and borderline abusive relationship which almost resulted in her losing access to her daughter, so I hope that y'all don't think of her as a monster, but as a loving wife and mother with some trauma that she's trying her damnedest to work through with the support of her therapist and myself. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, I'm so happy about this outcome. Your wife seems like a lovely woman. OP, I know, right? I'm so thrilled, my jaw hurts from smiling so much. Commenter 2, I'm glad Reddit didn't talk you out of this. There were so many negative and pessimistic comments I was worried that you were going to abandon the idea. OP, no one short of my wife herself would convince me not to. He's an innocent child who needs someone to love him. If anything, Reddit made me more determined to try. If I'd chickened out and never brought it up, everyone calling me a saint, completely undeserved but that's besides the point, would be disappointed in me along with myself. OP is an absolutely amazing person, trying to take in not only his stepdaughter but also a child neither him nor his wife have any relation to is a very commendable thing to do. I have heard a lot of horror stories about the foster system, so how much OP is dedicated to keeping a 5-year-old out of it warms my heart. Story 2. Original post, January 24, 2024. Background, my husband, 35M, and I, 33F, have been married for 5 years. We own a beautiful vacation home on the beach that we built ourselves and use throughout the year. My in-laws, 60s, have always been welcome guests, visiting for a few weeks here and there, and contributing financially towards maintenance costs. Last month, my in-laws suddenly announced they were selling their house to downsize and move into a tiny condo. Apparently, they've been secretly harboring this idea for months, never mentioning it to me or my husband. They plan to close on the sale in 2 weeks and then move into our vacation home for 6 months while they figure things out. I was floored. This house is our sanctuary, not a retirement home extension. We use it frequently, have friends and family book to visit throughout the year, and rely on the income it generates during peak season. My in-laws, on the other hand, haven't lifted a finger on the property themselves and contributed only minimally. My husband, bless his sweetheart, is more understanding. He feels bad for his parents and believes we can make it work. His in-laws, sensing my resistance, are now guilt-tripping us, claiming they have nowhere else to go and offering to pay significantly more than their usual contribution. Am I the asshole for refusing to let them move in? On one hand, I feel obligated to help family in need, but on the other, this feels like an outrageous imposition on our personal space and finances. Relevant comments, more on the relationship with the in-laws. My relationship with them is strained because this is not the first time they have grossly overstepped. This has led to many a fight between my husband and me. My husband sees no wrong in their behavior and thinks we should just help them. Every time they're at the vacation home they've commented on how much they love it and would love to live in a place like this at retirement. So, I feel this was a very intentional move on their part. Not letting them stay will create conflict in my marriage, but I'm pretty positive that they will never leave if we let them move in. What else have they done? On our first marriage anniversary, they gifted us a chicken. We lived in an apartment at the time. On Valentine's Day, the second year, they showed up at our house mid-afternoon because they thought it would be special to spend the night with us. On the birth of our daughter, my mother-in-law refused to leave the delivery room until I had the nurse drag her out, and then she sobbed obnoxiously loudly in the hallway outside the room. When COVID happened, she ordered us cases and cases of beans and other canned food to help us prep for the apocalypse and then sent us the bill. My mother-in-law demands all holidays are with them and shows up unannounced to my parents who are 4 hours away each holiday we spend with them and forces us out of my bedroom, and we sleep on the pull-out sofa the whole visit. My mother-in-law demanded my husband go to her house last year to fix something on our daughter's birthday and then kept him there till after the birthday party was over and then had a birthday party she planned for my daughter at her house the next day. Our second daughter's birth was similar where she sobbed and instantly FaceTimed my husband since I refused to let her into my delivery room. She sent a mixed nuts package to my parents at Christmas this last year knowing my dad is deathly allergic to tree nuts. I could go on and on. OP is voted not the asshole. Update. January 26, 2024, 2 days later. Edited to add an update as it'll likely get lost down in the comments. I'll give a quick update while I wait to get the kids from school and answer a few questions I saw pop up. We co-own the beach house. We bought it in 2020 when interest rates were super low before houses skyrocketed. The in-laws have helped us with projects and paid for a few things but so do my parents. So, we have never thought of their contribution as anything but help from parents. They had their annual Old Farts Christmas party, their words not mine, there this past December and had the place for a week free of charge for them and all their guests. So, they definitely have gotten plenty of use of it. We had a come to Jesus moment yesterday and I was the asshole to my husband. I told him I was done, and I wasn't even entertaining them staying there as it's our business and this is bad business. I basically told him I was over his mom, and it was at the point I'm about to peace out because I can't handle her shit anymore. Previous to this I was no contact with her and would entertain them when they'd come to visit. They never stayed at our house as we live relatively close to them. He still has no clue if they're truly selling their house, if they're upside on bills or if they're just assholes but I honestly don't care. My parents are immigrants and own a restaurant and have worked their asses off to create a fantastic life for me and my siblings. They also taught us the value of money and working hard for the things we have. The vacation home was bought cheap but 90% of the renovations were done by me during my free time. Renovations are my true love. Nursing pays the bills, I love it too, but it doesn't fill the creative cup. I told him he'd lose the house to his parents over my dead body and if he feels the need to financially set them up, he can do so with extra money he earns from picking up shifts, also a nurse. Basically, I told him their failure was not an emergency on my part. They have always kept up with the Joneses and spent exorbitantly. So, they might be broken again I don't care. I have barely tolerated his mom for the past few years. I'll be cordial because I was raised well but I'm over tolerating their nonsense. I will say he does see all this crap she pulls but he was raised that mom knows best. He's Puerto Rican so this is partially cultural. But I'm done. I worked yesterday and busted my ass and then drove the kids to the beach house last night and picked up dinner and we are there, and I just thought fuck no. So, time will tell but he called his parents and on speakerphone told them they couldn't stay but the offer to condo hunt is still open, but he needs to know the price range and all that jazz. His mom cried and I flipped the phone off. So as of this moment, it's not happening. I also told him if it's a problem he can quit claim deed the beach house and I'll cover the expenses and manage it myself. Cause mama don't play. Update February 15, 2024, 3 weeks later in-laws did sell their house. They made little to no money as apparently, they took out a cash-out refinance a few years ago. So, they had no down payment for a smaller place. They are now renting an apartment as I really refused to help them financially. We did help move their crap into the new place, so they didn't have to pay for movers. Basically, they were trying to live rent-free. My husband has barely spoken to them. The light bulb truly went off with all of this. So, they suck. I knew it, but it seems he finally does too. They're not in the beach house and they won't be staying there anytime soon because I still don't trust them. Story 3. For context, I, 28F, inherited a holiday home from my grandma some time ago. I never really use it as it's roughly a 5-hour drive out from London, where I live. It's relevant to the story that the keys to the holiday home are on a rack, with literally every other key to anything my boyfriend or I own. The holiday house has a security system hooked up to my phone. When it detects someone on the property, cameras turn on and I can see them. My boyfriend's brother, 33M, recently had his 4th child. He and his wife currently live in a 2-bedroom apartment. So, 3 days ago, they were both over at my and my boyfriend's house with all their kids. We were talking about anything and everything. I was holding the baby. My boyfriend's brother eventually mentioned how I have my holiday home and how it has more than enough space for him and his wife to raise their 4 kids. My exact response was, "Yeah, but I'm not gonna let you live there." So he went quiet after that and his wife started to collect their kids and their things. They left about 10 minutes after. My boyfriend hasn't said anything to me about the conversation, yet I'm feeling bad about my response because I know they really do need the space. So fast forward to yesterday. I wake up for work and realize my boyfriend isn't in bed with me, nothing out of the ordinary. He works from 8:30 a.m. When I'm finally about to walk out the door, I go to grab my keys and notice my holiday home's keys are gone. I look around for them, can't find them, so I call my boyfriend. First time he doesn't answer, second time he doesn't answer, third time he does. The conversation went, "Hey, have you seen my other house's keys?" "Yes, I have them." "Cool, why have you got them though?" "Grabbed them by accident. I'll return them when I'm back from work." I thought everything would be fine, so I continued with my day and went on to work. Midway through my workday, I get a notification from the house's security system. I open it and find my boyfriend, his brother, and his family all outside the door with a moving van in the back. I was fuming. When I got home, my boyfriend was already there, acting as if everything was normal. I started screaming at him asking why the hell he'd move a family into my house without my permission. He tried to justify it and say he had to help his family. It honestly just made me angrier. I told him that we were over and he has one day to get his brother and his family out of my house, or I would call the police on them all for trespassing. That all happened at around 6 yesterday, 14 hours ago. He hasn't called me or anything, but I fully intend to go through with my threat. But I know they're struggling right now. So, would I be the asshole for calling the police? Edit, thanks for all the advice. By searching through the UK's government website, I've managed to figure out what I can legally do. I've also called the police on them already. I haven't received any updates on that yet, but I'll share them when I can. Edit 2, I called the police a little while ago. About 30 minutes ago they came and returned my keys and let me know that the family had been told to leave by them. At first, they refused, but eventually, they packed their things up and went. My ex-boyfriend, his brother, and his brother's wife have been blowing up my phone asking why the hell I'd put them and their children through this. I've blocked them all. I feel absolutely terrible about what I did, and I know there was probably better ways to handle the situation. I even considered letting them stay after all, but I'm not sure if they would pay rent or anything. For the future, I plan to rent the home out, as many of you suggested. But I'm not sure how ex-boyfriend's family would take that. I can't believe the entitlement some people have. Good for OP for standing up for herself. They 100% thought they could stay there for free since she's family. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.